Hi everyone. My name is Neelesh Shukla. I work as a research scientist at a state corporation. I head the research lab here. And today, my topic is to talk about the challenges that we face while we process a lot of financial documents that we receive at our corporation. And document intelligence and understanding, to give a little background, is what we receive PDFs, scans, or emails, anything which is in terms of documents, which are digitized documents, right? And they come in various shapes and sizes. Every document is different from other document. In certain cases, for example, and then probably you're getting an email. It has an email, then attached to it. Image is also there attached to it. A file is attached to it, and if you download that email and if you download the attachments with it, so every document which is attached might be different. And if you have to process that particular email, it's a task, huge task, and it's a difficult task because every kind of documents is different. Now the difference means is they could be text, they could be images, like there's a multimodality present. Then also their structure, right? The way the information is present on that is different. And which become makes document intelligence more complex than a web document, because in web document, or if you talk about text document, you somehow get some structure in a sense, the way of writing. Let's say in English you have a grammar, in a web you have metadata behind it, but in documents it's very hard to get all these things. And so it's a quite challenging to get understanding of a document based on that. And that's why it is not only related to NLP, where we definitely have text and everything, which somehow works as a natural language processing, but at the same time you have images, different layouts, and so it's a multidisciplinary approach that we have to follow, where we have to apply natural language processing, computer vision, layout understanding, and all. And a lot of work that has been done earlier, mostly is it on maybe text file, maybe web documents, maybe social media chats and posts, which doesn't capture the complexity of these business documents, right? So the very first challenge that we face is that till now we are not able to capture anything which could be generalized from more than one or two documents. The reason is because every document is different. If you see in the right side, there is one document which is heavily overloaded with the numbers, tables, texts, and so we can get another document which could only have figures or text or something, or maybe these numbers are present at some other position, right? So this way the layout changes. Obviously, multimodality is a problem, because whenever, let's say, you're processing an NLP, you are getting text, right? And then if, let's say, if you have to apply entity detection or entity selection task there, then all the information that you're getting is in form of text. Or if you're applying computer vision, you're getting all the information in terms of uh, images. But here, if you talk about documents, it has image, it has tables, it has text and everything, right? So this makes this task challenging. And since every document is different from other documents, there's no general techniques which can be applied to across all the documents. And so quickly talk about what kind of different document could be. There are three kind of documents in which we can categorize. Unstructured documents, like we talked about emails, where emails or letters where which can contain attachments. So there are variety of documents, variety of structure in it. Semi-structured is something like, if you talk about invoices, or let's say, all these invoices, they are talking about particular thing, That means all the invoices could will have invoice number, there will be line items, and then date, client, and everything. So they have the similar information, but their structure is changing. Well structured documents are documents which are like tax forms or W forms, which you see, that IRS forms. They have a well structure that where should you put what info, and with that you can get that info. So this is the variety that we get in document types. And obviously data availability is very less as of now. This document intelligence is still in a very early stage, as in a research and academics, and even in industry we do not see a lot of data. Even for us, why it is challenging in the financial domain is that all the financial data is very uh, uh, it could not, we cannot put in a public, and because very sensitive information. And also for every organization the document changes, so they cannot be used as it is. So this way, since there are different structure, different variety, and different needs of uh, uh, documents, there's till now there's no generic model or generic approach which can work across all documents. And that's why different vendors, if you talk about let's say Google Document AI or Microsoft Form Recognizer or any other approach, even at our organization, what we follow is that for every specific type of documents we have to build models, right? So uh, so which is every organization and every commercial tool or commercial service provider, they are doing this. So in document specific things, they usually work on two different ways. One is pre-trained models where some set of documents, let's say, which are very well structured. For example, your ID documents, your driving licenses, your invoices, and all. Uh, they are pre-built model on that, and then you can directly use them. But right now the problem with that is that it's very limited use cases which are provided outside. Another thing is that we'll talk about it later, is that if you're building for every particular document, that means how, so there will be so many models, right? So many, and how would you choose that which model to use and when? And also at the same time, when you're building document a specific model, that means you have to annotate, you need to get a lot of data for that particular specific document, and that means that there's a lot of human effort that you're going to put into that. There are custom models, but again, these custom models face two problems. Is one, even if you want to build a custom model, all the documents that you onboard to a system, they should be follow very rigid structure, right? And that's what, let's say, this, if you think about the Microsoft recommendation, is that all the documents should follow constant visual template. That is not possible, right? For every document, even if we talk about less particular invoice, one client sends invoice in some other format, another client sends invoice in some other format. So there could be not a common visual format, and so that's why mostly this custom trained models also are not helpful today. And also for this custom trained model, again you have to put a human in the loop where the human will be annotating all these documents. So so these are the particular challenges that we face on a daily basis with the, even if we document specific things. And even if you go for the, if you go into research, then there's all this document intelligence is mostly focused on invoices or receipts, right? These kind of documents only. So with this we have a very limited public data set which we can directly use without being annotated, without annotating, and then try to build generic models. So that is also a limitation. So I think going forward, what we have to do in three direction, what we have to work on is how to make the public data set more public data set, and how can we go for models which are generic to the layout, right? And they can learn across layouts, obviously, and which is a more tougher task. And because we need to understand the layout, and sometimes it's very specific, then we need to build some way where we can reduce the human effort via generating automated annotations on certain docs. We already doing some work on it on this direction, which we are going to publish soon, but not here, at this time. Another challenge that we face, and any organization which is processing document is facing, is that not the documents are only single page. They are multi-page documents, ranging from one page to thousand, 100 pages, and more. Yeah. So if you see talk about financial annual reports, they usually 100 page, 100 200 page long. And even if you take this some small documents, 1 to 5 page, 5 pages documents or something, then also for every page, it is not that the layout will be consistent. Layout will be changing on every page. So that's again a problem. Like, how do you build a model for a particular document itself, right? Because there's changing and change the layout at every page. Second thing comes is that not in every page. Let's say if you talk about information extraction or summarization, right? Not every information on every page is important, right? And then probably user is more interested in annotating or getting information from first page, then second page, then third page. And so information varies. Information need also varies with the pages. So, and if you look into the current research which has been done, which are going on, all the state of the models, they only work at page level, right? So they all the context that they bring in on the page wise. But if what if some page changes, one page to another page, how can you uh, have that context, that sequence? There's no, so we do not have work on that yet. Also, let's say I have trained a model for a particular page which has a particular layout. Now how would I use the next page? Do I need to build another model for that? And that's the problems which is with a multi-page document, because eventually for a consumer, there is a, this is a single document that they have to submit. So okay, then next comes is, let's say when you're building a document specific models, and then and you have, let's say, built 10 models. How would an end user know like which model they should use, right? And eventually with that huge variety in a large organization, you might have more than 100 or 200 variations, right? And let's say if you build 200 models, now you cannot ask a user to first go and group the document and then choose a particular model and then only go that way. That's what all the commercial solutions provide, right? You have a driving license, go and choose a driving license, and then you can go that way. And for that, if you want to apply a solution, which the solution could be that, that okay, you classify the document. There are work going on in document classification. You classify your document, and then probably you can process these documents, where user doesn't need to know what kind of document they have. They just put it to the system, it classifies, and then invokes the pipeline. Now the problem happens is, for example, one is multi-page, right? Uh, document has a multiple pages, multiple pages following different layout. Uh, they will go into different pipelines, right? Second problem come is that, even let's say we build a model which varies invoice specific, for example, invoice processor model, but eventually if you two different clients are sending two different invoices with the different layout. So this way, still we need to think about is that how can we go for document classification. Then usually the current work that is happening, they use RVL CDIP, which uses high level concepts which are like forms, scientific papers. Right now, a generic form can be used for invoices. A generic form can be used for W8 forms, or IRS forms, tax forms, etc. Right, but if you try to use these generic forms like from data set or model trained generic form data set, it doesn't work well. And that's where as a financial organization where we have a regulated regulations, we have the information that we get from these documents via automated systems, that should be very correct. And so that doesn't work with us in that sense. So let me talk about why, what are the challenges that document intelligence or document understanding we face during information extraction. First, it's a hybrid documents that we already talked about. Is that there's not only one type of information that we want to extract. Let's say if in NLP I'm going to have name entity recognition, then obviously I will have text and I'm going to extract named entities. But here, when a user submits the documents, they have different needs. They want to probably export a particular table, probably export some key value, probably export a text, probably export a section, probably export an entity from out of it. Even going for further, probably not the complete table. They want to extract only certain columns or certain rows, right? So that comes a more variety of information need, and even if you give them the document to annotate, uh, they will be annotating for all these different information need, right? The same documents is being annotated to different information need, and now you cannot have a single model which can do all these things together. Similarly, when let me go deeper in these things. If you talk about key value, then what is the problem? Obviously, so it's the variation is there, right? For example, there's top down. It could be top down. It could be left to right key value. It could be multi-valued and then multi key multi value. So again, the structure and layout is changing. Then you can say, okay, there's one key and there's one value, right? There could be variations, and mostly in majority we find left to right, but obviously they're top down, then sometimes we get bottom up and all these things. Uh, and okay, so if I talk about key value thing also, and let's try to solve this problem itself. So it is usually solved as an entity classification problem, where this information is extracted by OCR as a text. So this is one part was text, then obviously image and positions both. So it's a multi-model thing. But eventually, what happens is that all the state of the art models, they go word by word, right, and then they try to predict the word, and like this, like build to be and all, right? So what happens is in this, if you see this extract of the OCR, the sequence is broken, right? Other entity is broken. For example, build two is address John Smith and two Court Square. But if you see here on the right side, this OCR has broken that sequence, right? So how so this creates a new challenge, which is the challenge of reconstruction of the entity. For example, here if I want to reconstruct that address, the sequence has been broken in the first thing. Another thing is that we usually face in key value is that key is detected separately and value is detected separately, right? How can you link that? Which, for example, John Smith is a bill to, right? So that is the problem of entity linking, and the recent work has been done, but they are not achieving good scores, and still we need to do a lot of work here. Obviously then there's a challenge comes if you talk about tables. There are lot of variations in the table. There are borderless table, border table, well structure table, multiple spans. Then the last, if you see the example, overflowing table. So this also places challenge. But I think there's a good work being done in this area, where Microsoft recently published this data set and then models on this, where they can detect all these tables. So still this is being solved. Now coming back to the original problem, where you have hybrid information need, and then how can you extract all these information together, right? So what usually the current solutions are there is that we build models or build a pipelines for specific tasks. Maybe table extraction is a different pipeline, key value extraction is a different pipeline, entity extraction is a different pipeline. Put a document there and it should take out the information. There comes the problem like this. If you see the first example, this could be treated as a table and this could be treated as key value. So we have both pipelines will be outputting this thing, right? Similarly, to the second thing, where it could be treated as an unbordered table or a key value pair, right? So this way you get a lot of noise, a lot of repetitive information, and then you have to put a post-processing logic which aggregates and rule-based thing, and then you need to put a human verification. So this creates an additional effort and a manual effort, and which takes a lot of time to solve this problem. And another way of solving this problem is that you identify different layouts, like where's the table, where's the figure, where's the text, and then based on that only you only part pass that particular section to particular pipeline. So still we need to see how this will solve the problems. So table, it obviously solves this problem, but the cases where it is overlap, how would you solve this problem? So the similar challenge, which is information abstraction, which comes by the nature of these documents, we also face the same problem with summarization. This is I'm presenting an example which we already attempted in LREC 2022, where we were given annual reports, and annual reports were like hundreds and 200 pages. The problem with this summarize how summarization difficult, because first they are like you have to summarize 100 pages, right? Then you need to identify which page or which particular part is important, not only particular in a particular text. Then there's a multimodality. There's the images, there is tables and numerical information and others. And when we do OCR, it creates a noise there, right? And obviously, all these documents, there's no fixed formats. They are different in different variety. And obviously, these documents are so long that the information was so repetitive, and sometimes it's just very difficult to get a concise summary. And a lot of state of the art summarizations have been tried out. This is what we submitted this year. And you see that F1, these are scores on rows to F1, and they are like 0.37 hours is 0.33. So still summarization is a problem on document, and we need to solve it. And obviously, being in a regulated industry or in any other ways, all the solutions which are available in the market or whatever we are building, they need a high time from a human, right? They have to annotate, they have to verify, they have to write rules, right? They have to so human is so much involved in automation that sometimes it doesn't make sense, because you are not reducing that cost at that level. And so it's a laborious and costly affair. And then if I improve our previous steps, then probably we can reduce human effort, or probably what I talk about, let's say if you generate an automated annotations, probably that can help a human, and then they can start annotation not from scratch, but from something which we have. And obviously, if you have set all these pipelines, our extraction is good, then probably that load will be reduced on human, and which is very important for our, at least in finance domain, because we are very regulated and organizations, right? So I think with that, I thank you everyone for listening to me, and have a great day. Thanks.